Caitlin Schmidt. I'm a PT at the Wellness Station with Paul McAndrew, and this is the next in our sequence of the 10 essential Feldenkrais lessons.
Yep, today we're going to do the easy turning lesson, and that lesson actually was popularized in a book called Relaxercise that you can still get on Amazon, written by a couple of Feldenkrais practitioners. So, easy turning, here we go.
All right. Why would I want to turn easy?
Because turning hard is a waste of energy.
Okay, it's uncomfortable.
And turning easy is going to make it safer for you to drive and easier for you to walk.
Oh, okay.
Now, how would this lesson relate to safer driving and easier walking? Maybe you'll see.
Okay.
All right, so stay tuned. Okay. All right, so your hands are resting on your thighs. How about if you imagine a light shining from your chest forward and a light shining from your face? So one light's on top of the other on the wall in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And now, how about if you begin to slide your left hand towards you and your right hand away from you, and notice what happens to those lights. Yeah, so you're going to invite your chest and your pelvis to join in.
Oh, and my pelvis.
Oh, I'm sorry. Invite your chest and your thorax to join in. Yeah, we're going to have the pelvis join in a little bit ahead of myself. We're going to have your pelvis join in a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you're watching, you can see that what Caitlin is doing is she's moving down to the pelvis and rotating, but the pelvis is staying where it is for now. And I'd like you to kind of look at the spine from behind and see all these segments and all these joints. And one of the things that's happening is right now, Caitlin is sending information up into the little woman in the control room, into the central nervous system that's speaking to, oh yeah, okay, I have all these different places that move and all these little muscles that I can send more appropriate messaging to. Okay, so why don't you let that go, and just pause for a few moments and let your body kind of take that in. How are you doing with your breathing?
Pretty good. A little
Okay.
shallow, maybe.
A little shallow?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe take a few more moments if you're watching this and you're doing the movement along with Caitlin, or if maybe you watch it the first time and then you replay it and do it with Caitlin. It'd be really fun for you to, first of all, and really beneficial to just check in with your breathing, and particularly your out breath is when you might feel how your body is even that much more at ease and calm.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
then-
sinking in and melting.
It's kind of sinking in and melting. Nice, yeah. Okay, so taking advantage of the earth's support. So how about if you now go ahead and slide your right hand towards you, left hand away, and now you have an opportunity to compare. What's it like for me to turn to the right compared to what I was just doing? And so you might stay with something like this for 7 or 8 or even 15 repetitions. It really depends. But what's going to happen is your curiosity is going to get piqued. At least I hope it does. Because you're going to notice, like, Caitlin, why don't you pause for a moment and then go ahead and do, to the left again.
I was ahead of you, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
well,
left is easier for me.
Feels easier?
Feels more fluid and kind of comfortable, and this feels a little bit less easy, a little stiffer maybe, a little more resistance a little bit.
Okay.
Not hard, but just different.
Quality isn't quite as nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were going to work with that, maybe you can imagine for yourself, would you go to, Caitlin, it doesn't turn as nicely to the right, as pleasantly to the right. It's not as responsive in action to her intent as going to the left. So think about it for a little bit, and which way, if you were home right now and you recognized that one way was easier for you, one way was not so easy, which one would you spend more time with right now? Which one would you initiate that practicing and repetition? So why don't we leave that for a moment.
Okay.
And then how about if you, imagining those lights from your chest and from your face, how about if you turn, sliding the left hand towards you, but leave your face where it is? Nice. So you can see there's a lot of freedom in the spine, chest, and head that allows Caitlin to turn underneath her head, to swivel underneath the upper part of the neck area. So right now, as she turns, like right there, her cervical vertebrae in the upper part are turned to the left. And now her cervical vertebrae relative to the lower are turning to the right. Okay, great. So Caitlin, which one do you think, if you were going to spend a little bit more time with it, would you want to spend time with first? Going the easier way, or the way that was a little bit rusty or a little bit not so refined?
The old Caitlin would say the rusty hard way. The new Caitlin would say the easy way.
Okay, and how did Caitlin become new?
Because she learns better when she does something gently, slowly, and easier.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, and basically, when you turn to the left, if that's the easier way, then what you're doing is you're speaking to your nervous system and you're saying, hey, you know what, internal teacher, I'd like you to now recreate that going the other direction. If you went right to the direction that you were having difficulty with, if you had some inefficiencies there, and inefficiency could be some muscles contracting at any one given moment that ought not to be, so like the brakes are on, the emergency brake is on, and you're trying to drive the car, or maybe there isn't a primary muscle group moment by moment changing that ought to be engaging that isn't, so you either have some muscles contracting that are antagonistic to the motion, or you have some muscles not primary movers that are not participating. And if you practice the pattern that's less efficient, you might actually just get better and better at those inefficiencies.
Right.
Which is what people are doing all the time. You see it in the gym all the time. Yeah. So you go the easier way, you learn from that, and then you say, okay, little woman in the control room, just transfer that over to the other side. Beautiful. Okay? So when you left your head straight on and you
Yeah.
turned just from the neck on down, yeah, and you lift your head. So some of you doing this at home, if you watch yourself in a mirror, you might be surprised. You'll see some of you will see yourself do this. You'll be turning and you'll have your eyes still facing straight, but your head's turning. So do this in front of a mirror. You don't have to be sitting. You can be sitting, standing in front of the mirror. You could be just finished brushing your teeth or whatever, and just see what it's like to turn your chest and to leave your head facing straight on. If it's difficult, there's a little trick.
Okay.
So, how about if you turn, let's do the easier way, which is everything head and chest to the left,
Okay.
and now leave the lower part where it is and bring your head back. And take in that feeling. So that feeling of when her chest, Caitlin's chest is to the left, and her face is straight on, that's the sensation that her brain is now relating to. So if you do this a little bit at home yourself, then you come back, and now go ahead and leave your head once again and turn just from the chest. Yeah, and then it'll probably feel even easier. Now, why might you want to be able to turn your chest separate from your head? We'll get an answer to that, but you'll be thinking about it. Well, we'll give you an answer to that in a little bit. So, if you look at the anatomy, maybe we can show you a little bit of the anatomy of the whole skeleton. And so we've moved down to here. So we've moved down to the pelvic area. What we haven't done is included the pelvis and the hips. So that's next. So how about if you once again slide your hand, your left hand up and the right hand away from you, and at the same time, let your right knee begin to aim towards the other foot. Beautiful. Yeah? Now go ahead and repeat that same direction, and this time don't go quite as far, Caitlin. Just make it a little bit lighter, a little bit easier. Yeah, we're not interested so much in range of motion as much as we're interested in quality of integration. How is everything flowing together? You know, you've all met people who are strong, but they're not very athletic because they have never learned how to put it all together in a beautiful way. Okay, so now why don't you go the other way and see how that feels. So now she's thinking about her left knee turning towards the right foot. In this case, if you look at this movement, it's different from the earlier movement. Caitlin's pelvis is like a gate, and her right hip right now is like the gate post, and the gate's swinging open, and then the gate is swinging closed. Beautiful. Yeah. And a lot of people love to do that movement and then alternate it. So why don't you see how that feels?
Well done. Tried too hard.
And when you, that's it, keep that going. And when you come back to neutral the next time, look down and slump just a little bit. And then come on up tall as you turn. Okay, so you see how we're adding a little bit of springiness in the torso, making this a more three-dimensional movement.
Yeah,
Very nice.
My feet are getting away from me a little bit. It's like, woo,
Off you go.
off I go.
Now can you do that and have your head going opposite? So not only is she leaving her head, she was able to leave her head straight on before, but now she's actually looking over the shoulder that's turning towards. Now right there, how might this relate to driving your car more safely?
It's like you're looking over your head, so if I just reverse this.
Yeah, so if you were pulling out in an intersection out to the left, and you wanted to make sure there weren't too many cars, there wasn't a car coming from the right, as you're pulling out to the left, you'd need to be looking around to the right. Yep. Yeah. So that's, and if you were walking, what's one of the actions of walking that requires freedom between the head and the neck and the chest? Yeah. Right.
An arm swing, I guess.
Yeah. And you see all the people walking like this because this area isn't free. They have no fluidity through here. And as you know, probably many of you know that many older people actually get lots of respiratory challenges and get pneumonia. Many people, that's really the cause of expiration because they're no longer expanding this and moving it and getting deep stimulation and deep breaths into the lungs.
Yeah, I think this is a great exercise or lesson for people who have a hard time breathing deeply or feel like their postures. A lot of people come in and they say, I want to work on my posture. My shoulders are so round and at my desk. And you know, in reality, it's more about freedom of releasing and your neck not being one big stuck thing here, and the stiffness in the upper back kind of letting go and moving rather than staying closed in around your heart.
And moving from the bottom on up.
Yeah.
The planet with gravity, that's what you're looking for, is that you move in response to gravity with ease and an actual power that's effortless.
Yes.
So kind of like a feeling of spaciousness and expansiveness when you move. Great. Well, I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and stay tuned because we've got some more coming.
Great.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Thank you, Paul. Easy